Hey, Chanel here with another Sew Bit. Today we are talking about weaves and textures in a fabric. And if you really want to go into debt or depth of learning about fabrics, how they're made and all that, check out NC State, North Carolina State University. They have the best department in learning how to do fabrics there. It's crazy. I toured it a couple years ago and wow, whole basement full of machinery and lessons. Couldn't believe it. So, but you might go into debt going back to school. So, same thing. So, fabric is woven in so many ways to create all the variety of fabrics that you see in the fabric stores. Oh my gosh, there are so many varieties. You have your different fiber contents, your man-made, your natural fibers, blend and also blended, and you have all different kind of weaves, how they actually weave the fabric to make it look different. And then through that weave is different textures and all that stuff. That's why there's just thousands and thousands of different types of fabrics out there. But let's start with the basic loom. This is just your length threads and your cross threads going across. Your length threads is called the warp thread, and your cross thread is the weft thread. I had the hardest time remembering those words when I was in design school, and I finally figured out a way to remember it. Can't remember how to say remember. So I'm not going to tell you how, but I figured it out. So basically, a fabric has your length thread, and the cross thread goes up, down, up, down, up. Basic loom, right? Used to see that a lot in TV shows and all. And when I talk about the grain lines of fabrics to people and my students, they just get lost. So, so I always show that picture, and I actually even have it taped to my wall now. So I was always having to pull it out to go, okay, this is how basic fabric is made. But let's talk first about the plain weave fabric. This is a little diagram on the length thread and the cross thread going up, down, up, down. You're going to find your basic, like this is a cotton, 100% cotton, that's the fiber, and this is called a Kona cotton, and it's your just standard weave fabric. It has a little bit of gloss to it. It's just a really great basic fabric. It goes up and down with that. Here is another basic weave fabric, and if you notice, it has metallic on it. And I actually sat here picking apart some of the threads right here, and I discovered that the length thread, because this is the selvage, so I can tell which way the length thread is going. The length thread always follows the selvage, is just plain. It's the white thread, and then every other thread, cross thread going in here is this metallic thread. Actually right here it's this silver thread. So they have a white thread, a metallic thread, a white thread, a metallic thread crossing over, and that's how you get this really pretty little metallic white and silver thread or fabric. So I've used this a few times. I love just doing accents with this. So that's your basic plain weave. Then we have, let's look at the twill weave. Twill weave you see a lot of. This fabric is has a certain weave to it for durability. They make a lot of jeans out of it, tote bags, and what else they got? Uniforms. Like you'll see the Carhartt brand. They use a lot of. It's all twills, and they're just the way it's woven helps it be more rugged. And it gives you right here is a simple. It's like 2 up, 2 down, 2 up, 2 down. Instead of 1 up like that, it's somehow it forms a diagonal in there. This is an example of a twill. I don't know if you can see the twill, how it kind of has like a diagonal weave. Though it's woven, straight across, you can still tear it because it's just still the same weave, but just has a diagonal look. Here's another denim. You can kind of see the twill weave here, and I can really see it on the other side. You can see See if I went this way. You could see the twill weave in here, how it's going diagonal. So that is a denim, and that's how it gets really rugged like that. Then we have satin weave, and the satin weave is formed by going, they probably have all different formulas for this, but it's going floating over 4, going under 1, floating over 4, going over 1, and that float of the thread creates a satin gloss to it. You can hopefully see the satin gloss in here. This is called, it's my new favorite fabric called Supima. It's a luxurious cotton. It's 100% cotton. Feels wonderful. Actually, the more you wash it, the softer it gets. But it has a satin weave to it, so it's floating over a few threads, down 1, floating over a few, down 1. Here's a silk satin, very glossy. So the silk satin's made out of silk fiber, and it's woven that way. The back of this is a little duller, like that. I don't know how that happens. I have to check into that. But that, and then here is a bridal satin that I found in my stash. This is a double-faced satin. Runs a good $100 a yard nowadays. I think when I bought it, it was like $65, I remember. And beautiful drape for a wedding gown like this. Puts in a lot of weight. I've made a few wedding gowns out of this fabric. Love it. So that's a satin weave. Then we have a crepe weave. Crepes, you'll see a lot in your fabric suggestions using a crepe. And really a crepe is, this is the weave of it. And what it is they take those yarns and they pull them real bad and they get them to twist. They get a lot of tension in them. Then they weave the fabric with those threads with twist, and they're twisted a lot of times too, twisted tension. And they make these beautiful fabrics like georgettes, and like here's a poly georgette, and it has like you can see it's got a crepey look inside there. It has beautiful drape. A lot of the fabrics like to have a drape. This is actually this is a chiffon, which is actually woven even. I just like the fabric. I took it, put it in there. This is a silk georgette right here. It has a beautiful drape to it. This is a gown I made for my friend's wedding dress, and this was at a stretch georgette in here. And here's a fabric called Crepe de Chine. This is a sample Crepe de Chine. I think it's shiny crepe. Crepe de Chine. I have to figure what that means. But that is also a crepe weave. So you'll see a lot of crepes. There's also a fabric out there called challis, and I think it has that twisted thread. And I was always surprised when it could tear, but now when I researched this, I figured out it's actually woven like a woven, and you can still tear it. I thought it was more of a loop kind of thing. That's why I knit fabrics you can't tear them, because they're actually woven with a loop. It's a special machine for that. Then we have pile fabrics. This is just a basic woven, but it has extra threads woven into it, and which creates the pile of the fabric. Pile is, I'm going to show you first a basic corduroy. Like this is a corduroy, and the pile, that's where it gives that little fuzz to it right here. And the pile can create, see, it looks a little darker now. The pile creates, I guess the light hits it in certain ways, and that's why one side will look darker and you flip it and it looks lighter. It's kind of strange. This is a pile fabric also. This is a real thin, they have the corduroys and then the pin cord. Then it just means the cords are closer together, how it's woven. And then this is a real tight pin cord. I guess I might even call this, I thought this was a velveteen, but it's you can see the cord in it. So velveteens are pile fabrics too. Also, fake furs are definitely pile fabrics. So all this thread is put in there, and then they're on purpose into the weave. So that's why you can actually look at the back of a fake fur, and it's like woven right there. So crazy. Also, towels are a pile weave. right here, there's the toweling is when they don't cut that thread off, it actually keeps a loop on it, so it's called toweling. This dress right here is a silk velvet, and velvets are definitely pile fabrics, and they're just beautiful. So that's a little bit about fabric weaves. So when you're at the fabric store and you're looking at some things, do a quick little research on them, and know that the weaves are different than the fibers, and there's thousands of them out there. Like there's thousands of fibers anymore, I think, because they got make them out of coconut now and bamboo, and they're getting it from everywhere. So hope you learned a little bit about fabric today. I'll see you in the next sew bit.